Hello, my friend. I'm back in front of my camera. I'm back from my 10-day adventure in Portugal, and I think I'm finally over the jet lag. And I'm just so glad to be back. I had a wonderful time. Traveling is always such a refreshing experience, especially when you're doing it with really amazing friends. But it's also really nice to be back home and back into a regular routine. And it was really interesting. Earlier this week, I was chatting with someone who I really admire and respect. And I asked for some feedback, and the feedback that I received stung a little bit. The feedback was that my attitude around something really sucked. And it did, it stung. It hurts to hear feedback that is honest, even when we ask for it. And I'm fortunate to have enough tools in my toolbox to and have enough experience to be able to absorb that kind of feedback without too much of an activation or trigger within me, and be really curious about it and be really open about it. Although it did hurt a little bit, and it took me a little bit of time to just absorb it and think about it and process it, and also just really evaluate it, whether it's true, whether I believed the feedback, and what I could do about it. Most importantly, it's always the most important thing to be open to feedback, and also to realize what you can do about it. And the really cool thing about having an attitude adjustment is that we have control over our attitude, right? We don't have control over what's going on around us. We don't have control over other people. We don't have control over what's happening in the world, but we do have control over our own attitude. And that's so empowering. It's empowering to me to know that, hey, I can change my attitude. I don't have to stay in an attitude that isn't ideal, that comes across as sucking. I have control over how I present myself to the world, how I talk about certain things, how I represent myself, and how I respond to those around me. And so that's what I decided to do. I decided that, you know what, this person is correct to a certain extent. And I'm also going to change up my attitude because I want to come across in a way that doesn't suck. I want to come across in a way that isn't negative, that is positive and hopeful and optimistic, which is how I want to be, how I want to present myself, and who I want to be in the world. And so sometimes we need to hear some harsh feedback, but I want to remind you that if you are receiving some feedback that stings a little bit or hurts a little bit, or you feel a bit defensive about, that's okay. See if you can step back a little bit and be curious about it. Be non-judgmental about it, question it, and then see how you can decide to change up something in your life to be more of who it is that you want to be, because you have the power to do that. You have the agency and the control in your life to adjust your attitude, to present yourself in a way that you want to, and to respond in a way that feels really good to you. So remember, when things feel out of control in your life or in the world, you do have control over certain things. And one of those things is your attitude and your response to things in your life. I hope this is helpful. I am so glad you're here. I'm glad to be back, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.